Welcome everybody, my name is Lori Gagne and I'll be bringing you Relic News. If you had caught episode number 12, you may recall that I had a Valentine's Day wish. Well, Heath Jones had contacted me and had given me a great deal. Now, he actually went way beyond what I was expecting for customer service. So if customer service is important to you, then I am sure you'll enjoy dealing with Heath Jones at Treasure Mountain Metal Detectors.
Next off, we're going to be featuring Maddie with an amazing moment caught on video.
It says 13 and 12:45.
How deep?
9 inches.
Oh, all right. Dig it, buddy.
Oh, it's a coin.
It's a coin?
Wow. King George.
Let me see.
Brand new King George.
Hold on. That's not silver, buddy. What's on the other side? Is that what you think it is?
Is that real?
Yes, it is. Holy moly. What year is it?
1774. Oh.
High five, buddy. All right.
Now, Maddie is the youngest member of Detect America. And don't forget to check out his Facebook group called Digging with Maddie. Now we will be featuring B Rippon. Some of you may know him as Rip's Relics on YouTube.
Hi, this is Tim Rippon, aka Rip's Relics YouTube. I'm here in Virginia, as far east on the coast as you can get.
He has been metal detecting for approximately 5 years. So what got him started in the hobby of metal detecting?
Actually, if I was at work at a different parts place, and a friend of mine was on the internet, on YouTube, looking at airplanes. And over in England somewhere, a Messerschmitt had crashed into a field somewhere, and they were looking for it. And they're out there walking around, swinging these sticks, is what it looked like to me at the beginning. And I sat there and looked at it, and I asked them, so what are they doing? He said, they're trying to find a plane. I said, the sticks? And he said, some kind of detective thing. And I thought it was, it was kind of neat, so I pulled it up on my computer and started looking at it. And come to find out, they were using metal detectors to find pieces and parts of the plane. Well, I had recently been in the hospital, and the doctor said, get exercise. Well, I'm not one for exercise at all. So I saw what they were doing, so I asked them on my next visit, hey, I would walking in fields, swinging my arm, this metal detector, looking at stuff, would that, be good for me? He goes, yeah, it probably would be. So I went and bought an Ace 150 at a pawn shop. And I only had it for 2 months, and that was it. I was hooked to start with, but I jumped the gun and went and bought the AT truck.
Has there been a fine that has eluded him?
Yes. And I had 2 actually, but one of my most recent videos, I found one. It was a seated dive.
Finally, after 5 years, I have finally done it. I have just found something on a bucket list, and oh God, I'm so happy. I've switched to Big Daddy coil, and got here, and I'm about 6 inches down, something like that, and look at this. I have finally done it. I have finally got me a seated. Oh my word, I am about happy as I don't know what. You guys, you just don't know. You just don't know how happy I am. 1877. Oh my God, I am thrilled. Whew. It may not be Spanish silver, but this has been on my bucket list for 5 years.
But right number one thing I still have not found, and I am just dying to find one, is either a US or a CS bump.
I asked him if he had a favorite find.
I do, but it's actually not mine.
Alright, this is Tim, Rips Relics, on the way down to Eastville today. Do a little hunting with the March gang from across the bay. And we got an addition to the hunting group today, my grandson. He's going to be joining in with us. I'm on the way to meet the guys of March, Wes, Bill, and Chad. My old AT Pro I passed on down to my grandson. So he is stepping up with his game. Has got himself a new buddy in Wes. Wes in VA. He's been hanging close to him all day long. He's found him a new buddy. He ain't been around me very much, so that's cool though. Wes is teaching him a lot, so that's a good thing.
He's in his hand and it broke.
Beautiful button. Yes, it is.
47, Garrett AT Pro. Look at that.
Well done.
Good job, buddy. That's a War of 1812 naval button.
All right, if y'all didn't hear that, War of 1812 naval button found by this one.
Awesome, buddy.
Awesome,
dude,
awesome job.
That is a wonderful find. That is a wonderful find.
Quit smiling so hard.
Wow.
All right.
And I mean, that's pretty much my favorite. If it's not mine, it's his. But he was so happy. I mean, he was nothing but teeth.
And here's a few more of his incredible finds.
And this is mine. These are my oldest. That's a Spanish Marvin Diaz. This is my Massachusetts pine tree shilling, and that is a 1621 cut Spanish silver.
So don't forget to check out Rip's Relics on YouTube. I'd also like to give a shout out to Metal Detecting Connecticut. Brian has been a fantastic support to Relic News. Now his daughter also has a Facebook group named Rachel's Portraits. Now she is an amazing, talented artist, and if you like art, you should go check out her Facebook group. I actually even posted 2 of my own paintings. So again, that's Rachel's Portraits on Facebook.
Deep in the woods, deep in the
Do you recognize this song? Well, this is who we are featuring next. We'll be featuring Whit Hill.
10 inches down with a solid sound. Mule shoe, you're so sweet. I'm gonna take you home with me. I dug it up.
Hi everybody, I'm Whit Hill. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been detecting about 4 years.
I didn't do metal detecting until I moved to Nashville. I knew about metal detecting. I knew that there were metal detectors, and I always wanted one, and I never got myself one. And then a couple of years ago, I did a little bit of research, not very much, but I went on Craigslist and I found one for $250, and it was in really good shape, and that was the start of it.
So what got her started into the hobby?
Everybody always asks me that. I'd always been intrigued by it. I'd heard about it, but somehow throughout my life, I just never actually, I was raising kids and super busy, and I never got a detector. And then once we moved to Tennessee, I don't know what happened, but I started really wanting one and dropping a lot of hints and asking for one for Christmas, and no one ever bought me one. And so one day I just woke up and said, what are you waiting for? You're an adult, you have your own money, buy yourself a metal detector. And I did.
What metal detector does she use?
And I got one off of Craigslist, and it was a Tesoro Cibola. Used, obviously, and it was $250, and I bought it at a gas station, and it has just been a great machine. I mean, since then I bought 2 others, but started with the Cibola, and that's sort of my loaner machine when I have a friend who wants to get started on it, and I give it to the friend, and the friend's using it and finding all this great stuff, and I'm like, I think I want that back. But no, it's been great. It's been so much fun. And, you know, now that I've been doing it for a while, I look back at my childhood and I realize that I'm really wired for this. When I was little, I was always looking for stuff in the ground. I grew up in New York City, and I had this really vivid memory of being in Central Park. I probably was like, I don't know, 8 years old is my guess. And I was with like a after-school center, and they took us to the park after school and dropped us off at 5. And I was in New York City in the Central Park, and I remember saying to my friends, let's start an archaeology club. And let's go, I made these poor children go under some bushes looking for stuff in the dirt, and I found a bunch of bones. And I remember taking them to the counselor and saying, look, we found bones. And he's like, those are chicken bones. And somebody just threw them there. And it's like, I was devastated. But, you know, when I started detecting, I started remembering all these things from when I was a kid that showed me, oh, you really like to find things. You know, I almost actually went into archaeology. Coming out of high school, it was either an archaeology department in England to study Celtic archaeology or the University of Michigan dance department, and I became a dancer instead. Yeah.
Has there been a find that has eluded her?
You know, I was just recently thinking about that because, you know, there are all these Facebook groups and everybody's talking about this kind of thing, and so often it comes up, what's your bucket list find? And I can't honestly say that I have one.
Does she have a favorite find?
I just really like being out there. I'm just as happy finding the toy car. I love the colonial stuff. I love the coins. I like the doing of it. So, you know, early on in doing this, probably within the first year, I probably found the best thing that most people would regard as the coolest thing I've ever found. I found it very quickly with the Tesoro Cibola, and it was a sutler's tag, Civil War sutler's tag that said Ohio, silver-plated, I think over pewter, I can't remember. And so I didn't know what it was. I honestly thought it was a token from a Cracker Jack box. I swear to God, I didn't know. I took it to the club, our metal detecting club, and some people were like, oh, you know, that's nothing. That's like maybe a reenactor, you know, had that made or something. I said, really? A reenactor had that made and then put it 12 inches down under a tree root in the middle of the woods? So I don't think so. And it ended up being a really awesome find. Very, very collectible. I mean, the week after I found it, I took it to the Civil War show in Franklin, and I showed it to somebody, a dealer, and he immediately got on the phone and called Brazil and offered me, I won't even tell you how much money for it. And at that point I went, let's just hold on for a minute. And I said, I'll let you know. And I kept it proudly for a year in a box in my dresser. And then I thought, what is this doing in a box in my dresser? I don't collect. I don't display the items. Maybe one day I will, but I'm disorganized, trying to get over that. And I thought, you know, if somebody actually displays these and has them from all the different states and needs the Ohio, who am I to stand in the way? So I did eventually sell it about a year or two later. And I feel great about it. I'm glad that it's being appreciated. I was thrilled to find it and thrilled to learn its story, but it was time to let it go.
What was her most memorable hunt?
Oh gosh, it seems like such an obvious question. And there have been so many. I mean, if I were to count how many hunts I've done now, it's got to be in the hundreds in the last 4 years. I mean, that's a lot of hunting. And I generally go out with my friend Cheryl Clark, who I met early in my detecting career. And we're kind of a little 2-woman team. And there have just been so many fun, crazy fun hunts with weird, amazing things that have happened to us. And it's not just about the digging, it's about the stuff that happens to us on the digs, too. I I'm not going to be able to pick one. So I'll just tell you one really funny story that happened one time. And this is not because I dug, I mean, it was a great site and I dug awesome stuff there. It was south of Nashville. Our friend and mentor, Doug Drake, said this would be a good spot. And we went there, and it was a construction site. And Cheryl dug 2 belt plates in one weekend. I did not. And bizarrely, we dug no bullets. She dug 2 beautiful belt plates, no bullets, and a whole host of beautiful military buttons and all to colonial buttons. I don't know what was on this site. I see nothing on the maps. Anyway, it was an awesome site. We were just dodging bulldozers. The bulldozers were very friendly, and I felt very badass. I'm not a brave person, but I was wearing my Doc Martens, and it was really hot, and there were bulldozers, and it was so much fun. And at one point, all the bulldozers left. It was the end of the day, and we were in a large cleared area, and at the end of the area was where the trees started, and there was one extremely large tree among other large trees, but this one was much larger. And I thought, if there ever had been a house, it would have been near that tree. And so I said, Cheryl, I'm going to go in the woods. I'm going to go over under that tree and check out that tree. And she said, you really should not do that. This is prime snake time. I'm really concerned about snakes. I really don't think you should go under that tree. And I thought about it, and she's always the voice of reason about snakes. I'm not scared of snakes. I should be, but I'm not. But I thought, we're out here alone. She's probably right. I won't go under the tree. And literally, like 90 seconds later, a huge branch of that tree cracked and slammed to the ground right where I would have been if she had not told me not to go under that tree. So that was a memorable day.
How long has she been a musician?
Well, that's a good question. I always sang and played piano when I was a kid and growing up, and then I kind of veered into dance and choreography and did that for many, many years. And then I'd always sort of noodled around on the guitar. When my kids were small, I played them the lullabies and all that on the guitar, but didn't think of myself as a songwriter. I was a backup singer for about 5 years and did a lot of touring doing that. That was a lot of fun, but wasn't writing, even though I've always been a writer in my day job life, but not songwriting. And then my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, he gave me a guitar. Well, I already had a guitar, but he gave me a nice guitar. And somehow it just snapped on. This was probably 20-something years ago. And a light went on, and I started writing songs. And I thought, wow, this is great, because, being a dancer is wonderful too, and a choreographer, but you got to rent a studio, and you've got to hire dancers, and people get injured, and you got to rent it's expensive and complicated. And I started writing songs and thinking, this is me alone in my room with a guitar and a notebook. This is really fun. And it sort of scratches the same itch. And so started doing that. And then we moved to Nashville and just moved here to become a better writer and be part of that community. And it's been great.
I also asked her about her CD that she has recently released.
It's I finished it about a year ago. And this year, I've just sort of been selling it off my website. I don't have a publisher or anything like that. It's just self-produced, self-published, and so, it's sort of on my own timeline. And I don't have it on iTunes because I love the packaging, and I didn't spend a lot of money on it. So it sounds like I spent a lot of money on it. It's beautiful. My husband did most of the production, and it's gorgeous. But, I'm just content to sort of slowly let it roll out into the world, and it's been a lot of fun.
What inspired her to make this CD?
Well, like most songwriters, we write about the things that interest us and that we're passionate about. Those are the best songs. You can write a good song about somebody else's experience, but it's got to have an emotional kernel, something that means something to you if you want to write a song that has some impact. And I certainly believe that. And so I kept writing these songs that were inspired by my metal detecting life. And here's the other thing. I would take them to my group, my Song Salon group, and people loved these songs. And they said over and over again, they said, I know this song is inspired by metal detecting, but it's about so much more than that. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe there's something about this hobby that really appeals to people. For one thing, so many people that I played these songs for said, I have always wanted to do that. And they were really intrigued and wanted to know more. And people at the group kept saying, you should release this. This would be a great and interesting record. So I did it.
She has also found some Native American fur trade items. And here's a little story on what she did with them.
My blog is very important to me. And there is a whole section about 2-3 years ago on Lake Michigan. I found next to the cottage I was staying in, they said, absolutely, help yourself. So there's a lot of woods right around the cottage we were staying in. It was a very remote area. And I found like a little hot spot of trader interaction with a whole bunch of old, I guess it was copper pipe, bits of pots and stuff, and with trunk handles and all kinds. It was all in the sand on the bluff overlooking the lake. And the Indians would and they were like Chippewa, I think, would turn them into tinkling cones. Do you know what tinkling cones are? They do. Yeah. Well, I started finding tinkling cones, and I showed the owner of the cottage. He said, "Oh, those are tinkling cones. I found those the whole time I was growing up." So I found all these tinkling cones and big pieces of metal, deep. I mean, I had to dig really deep, and then flat buttons. And here's the thing: I felt so conflicted. Because there are Native people still living in the area. So, I didn't know what to do, like with the tinkling cones. So I found the perfect solution. I have a girlfriend here in Nashville who is from the UP of Michigan, and she is from that tribe. And she's about half Native American. And she's one of my best friends here. She's a songwriter in Nashville named MJ Bishop. And so I had the tinkling cones made into a beautiful necklace for her. And I gave them to her. And she wears it all the time. And so to me, that's perfect. Like property owners, because I actually live in a really historic area. And there was a colonial town just down the street from me, and the town's been lost and nobody knows exactly where it was. Most people don't even know that it existed. But I'm fascinated by it. I want to find this town. And there are large areas of woods, but they're so dense that I don't think I can even walk through them. The underbrush is so thick. Anyway, I do find colonial stuff in my neighborhood frequently. And so I was in this yard around the corner. This is a good story because I found this yard that I really wanted to dig, and I talked to the guy, and I was really friendly, and then I told him what I wanted to do, and he shut it down real quick. It was not happening. He was nice enough, but whatever. And so I was like, and then that made me go back, made me remember, I have permission at this other yard, which I thought was going to be a real waste of time because I know it had been a party house and there's a little cabin, and I just thought this yard is going to be full of trash. And it was full of trash. And then it was also full of this. Can you see what it is? Right. This is a Spanish real from 1792. And it's mine. And it was in there with 4,000 bottle caps and pull tabs and chopped up aluminum can. If that guy had not turned me down, I never would have found this.
This Wednesday, Trevor from Coil Tech will be featured on Beyond Sight and Sound. Please make sure to check them out at their new location on Blog Talk Radio. check out this event with George Skeeter. It'll be held on April 19th to the 24th in New Hampshire. This will be 6 days of metal detecting, so for more information, please check out the Bone 23. If you have any upcoming events, please send them to me, and I'll be sure to feature them on Relic News. So now that wraps it up for this week's episode of Relic News. I'll be leaving you with Whit Hill and a song that was written by Butch Holcomb from the American Digger magazine. Here she is.
So like I said, when I put the word out that I was doing this record, I immediately got an email back from a man named Butch Holcomb, who is the publisher of American Digger magazine, which is a really important magazine to me and many others. It's actually the coolest magazine. You should look at it. Anyway, he's a really great writer and a really cool guy, and he sent me these lyrics. They were done. I didn't have to do a thing to them. I just set them to music. And this is another song about one of the banes of our existence. Digital readings up and down got me confused and concerned. If I don't dig it, I might get burned. Whoa, let's see what's down below. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again. Chewing gum wrapper, thin gold chain. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'll dig it up, can't walk away, so I cut a plug. What the hay? Whoa, let's see what's down below. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil and I'll dig something I should dig. Till then, again and again, I'll curse Alcoa and the Wrigley twins. Oh, let's see what's down below. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again. Everybody! Aluminum, foil again. Aluminum, foil again.